often human beings will complicate God's law and God's command. So let me just give you, among the fatwa that comes up in Ramadan, every Ramadan, I see these fatwa come up online. Someone will ask whether using a butt washer in Ramadan will break your fast. And I often wonder to myself, who sits there, who hates his life sufficiently to think of, well, if I have saliva, does this break my fast? If I wash my nose, does this break my fast? If I use a butt washer, does this break my fast? You see, the law gets complicated. The law gets complicated not because of questions by the mainstream. The law gets complicated because of the questions by the fringe. Let me explain this to you, something about the way the law works, and this is in all legal systems, not just Islamic law, not Jewish law, but all legal systems. The majority of the people can have absolutely no problem, and they receive Allah's command, they receive the command, they receive whatever the law is, do X, and the majority, the mainstream will do X. But the fringe will come, and the fringe could be actually suffering from some type of neurosis, some type of psychological problem. And they will ask the questions that the mainstream doesn't think of. Well, how about this? How about that? Well, how about this? Now, when a jurist answers the question, the jurist doesn't note in answer to the question, I was asked this question by an erotic person. The jurist just answers the question. The jurist doesn't note, I was asked this question by a fringe person, or I was asked this question by a person who didn't smell good, or I was asked this question by a person who wasn't dressed well, or I was asked this person by a person who is not educated, or I was asked this person by a person who's highly educated. The jurist just answers the question. But once the question is answered, it has become a part of what the layers that define the law. So the next stage, the mainstream comes and finds the law with a further wrinkle. But that wrinkle will elicit numerous other wrinkles. And the law becomes more and more and more complicated, but not because of the activity of the mainstream, but it's actually because of the activity of the fringe. Of course, there is a way to solve this problem, and that is for jurists to refuse to document responses that they understand to raise a complication that most people ought not worry about. And that is why in the old times, when you hear the old fuqaha, they tell you that, 50% of what they were asked about, they would say, I don't know. I don't believe that they truly didn't know. They didn't want to answer. La a'lam means don't ask me that, because It's not something that we were told anything about, and it's not something that I'm going to give you an answer to. Go away. Unfortunately, this type of humility and this type of wisdom is missing with so many legal experts who will rush to give a response, but they don't think, is this response really of concern to the mainstream, or is this a complication raised by someone who's thinking of something that they ought not to be thinking of, because Allah didn't make it an issue for us.